Welcome guys, brought to you by Opera GX and XLAG 20% discount. Stay Giga spam noted. Also, follow the Twitch and subscribe YouTube because I'm gonna do a full perfect translation for upcoming 21st LOA-ON. Let's get started. So the director covered a lot of stuff on his latest stream or in the Chinese showcase. Pretty sure he's gonna cover it again with some detail, right? Let me cover those parts first. So the ones that are covered is Giga Mokoko Express Pass and Kazuras Road plus Rimeria Jump Pass. And this part is my assumption. Maybe Rimeria Express 1620, the Mokoko Express 1600 to 1660, and lastly the road maybe 1660 to 1680. Character bound gold, so this is something to support the alt characters to raise without the help of other classes funneling the alts, right? Female Paladin, we know that. Balance patch at rework level, including the supporters' enlightenment. A lot of Korean supporters were mad, and some people actually even quit because they're doing this after like 10 months from the season 3, when the enlightenment point of supporters were garbage from the start. They're doing it now because female Pally is coming, so they feel really tilted. New gem system, we know this, right? They are not making roster-wide. It's just to make classes to transfer to the other build easier than before by having able to choose any skills, able to choose any DPS or cooldown gems, and able to put on preset. Self-meter, in other term, combat analysis. If it doesn't work as West meter, but only shows the skill proportion and stuff, then KR will rage harder because that is not what people wanted. Power indicator, this means summarizing all the specs that a character has into a single number so that players can know who is stronger. Kazuras Raid and the first event, yeah. The new horizontal content called Aldebaran's Ocean. Aldebaran is one of those gods that Regulus made. I am not sure if his English name is Aldebaran. The director said it's gonna be a huge scale with actual content. This is gonna be completely against the vertical and the raid that exists right now. So remember those content like 2 or like 3 years ago where like, there was like tower defense Lost Ark version, like League of Legends kind of, AoE stuff as a Lost Ark characters, like those kind of like horizontal, huge scale game stuff. Paradise, this is covered from Chinese stream, right? Something that you can grind with your main for the rank. It's like a tower with multiple stages where you kill mobs and bosses, like World of Warcraft Mythic. Lost Ark had something similar called Reverse Ruin 5 years ago, and it should never be similar to this since this was a garbage shit. It was mega garbage. Reverse Ruin was a seasonal content. It depends on classes, but pretty much you used only like 2 skills that were easy to kill mobs. This was really boring since the skills didn't interact each other like in Last Epoch. Like Last Epoch, the skills interact each other. For example, you use skill A, then the skill A can proc skill B automatically even if you don't use skill B, thanks to some of the tripods on certain skills. They made the tripods to interact each other, which makes those ARPG games fun, right? Lost Ark is an MMO, it's not ARPG. So they're not specialized on that kind of stuff. So what happened is that you are technically just clicking 2 skills alternating, and that's it. How can that be fun? That's just the Chaos Dungeon. Also, the mobs become significantly tankier every floor, so you find yourself spamming 2 skills for 10 minutes and above to kill the same mobs. I'm not joking. The reward was Bracelet. Back in the day, Bracelet didn't work like now. Lost Ark had 2 engravings at max, including the class engraving. How many engravings do we have now on Season 3? Including the class engraving from the Enlightenment, we have 6 engravings, right? But back in 5 years ago, including class engraving, it was 2. And the bracelet added a random engraving, so it became 3 lines. You are able to use bracelet on other contents as well, basically on every raid. So you have to grind until you get the correct engraving. Why? Because it's random. You get the 3rd line as a crisis evasion, then you become a bozo. You have to go into this 10-minute plus shit and keep on shitting. The problem is when the season ended, because I told you it's a seasonal content, right? The bracelet also disappeared. So your character became weaker until the next season of the Reverse Ruin started. It was boring and the Doom content overall, so they deleted it. The funny thing is, initially, they advertised it as the best hack and slash. I'm pretty sure PoE1 laughed out hard on Lost Ark advertising like this, but yeah. Alright, next one, New Island, yeah. Skin reworked to match stature and look more natural, sure. Some QOL, I hope they do it as MapleStory Showcase scale, because how many of you guys play MapleStory? Raise your hand. And how many of you guys saw the latest MapleStory Showcase from the director Shin Chang-se? The QOL part, Omega popped off. I hope the QOL that the director John J. Hawk in Lost Ark covers is similar to that kind of Pogger level. Lost Ark Mobile. So interesting part of the Lost Ark Mobile is this part. Legion Commander Content Play Zone. You can freely experience the new Legion Commander raid on mobile with various combinations from 1 to 8 people. When I translated this back to Korea, it actually meant you can enter the Legion Commander from 1 to 8 people flexibly. That is crazy. This is something that a lot of people has been asking on the PC version of Lost Ark, but they never did it. I'm not sure the true intention of them adding this, but I wish they are testing it on the mobile and then later eventually adding it to the PC. That would help. So these are the ones that were pretty much covered in advance. Now this time, I'm gonna cover the main dish of this video. The fundamental problems that have to be fixed even though it takes time also should be brought up on LOA-ON. And this is not just my opinion, it is literally something that I went through the invent today all over for 4 hours and brought it up. Number 1, playtime on main being similar to ults. This part, the Paradise and Catastrophe mode might fix it. I don't think I covered the Catastrophe before. Basically, it's something like Extreme Voten, another, non-equalized hell mode. Number 2, value preservation. Okay, this one I think West can ignore it since it doesn't vibe with you guys. Basically, when it comes to MMO, Korean players have been thinking tradable in-game stuff as IRL assets through 1v1 RMTing over 20 years. For example, price of gems decreasing after they got it, they become very ragey because the price should fall after they sell. Number 3, game being too much pay to win and heavy RNG system. Now we are talking real here. Recently, they got caught. They means Smilegate. Smilegate got caught that their true intention of releasing super efficient pay to win honing package on a monthly basis is to devalue the daily rewards and at the same time increase the swipe efficiency. At the moment, blue crystal price in KR is very high. It's over 10k. Smilegate doesn't want the ults to exist to funnel the main. They want the ults to be invested like main through swiping. Plus, character bound guild is coming soon. It's not roster bound, it's character bound. Ultimately, it comes to a point where you have to swipe. This got caught from a famous game analyzer. He is very famous YouTuber at the same time in Korea. Now the director said they will do whatever they can do to fix the economy, even if it decreases their profit, sure. He did not acknowledge the above funnel ult killing allegation, by the way. Alright, next one. Card system. Lot of KR are raging. At the end of season 2, the director said card system is a huge obstacle for new players. But then, what did he do on season 3? They added new cards that are same figures but just a different prefix. For example, there's different Nineveh, different Balfour, different Azina, all that thing, different Kadon, different Carmine. Koreans are memeing and mocking hard on the director, saying cock-sucking Nineveh and dick-touching Carmine. I'm not even joking. They are literally memeing, being sarcastic by actually calling like this. The only thing he mentioned is he will add Cien and Luen kind of cards on Wandering Merchant. Next one, gem system promoting people to play mono classes. Director put 5% plus base attack power buff initially on the new gem system when you log it. Now, mono classes started to quit KR for real. They threw the gems on the auction house So the gem price started falling. After that, director went live stream last month and revoked what he said on last stream and removed the base attack power. So this makes the mono classes happy, right? By doing that, now the different classes started to quit the game by calling themselves as a retard of not saving 20 million plus gold by playing mono class roster. So even though he revoked, because this time the different classes and these are quitting the game, the gem price started to keep on decreasing. The level 10 tier 4 is at 1.8 million. Before the initial gem change announcement, it was at 2.8 million. It got reduced by 1 million, bro. Build being hard to change. Even if the new gem system kicks in, you still have to cut new stone and bracelet. Stone and bracelet is a huge obstacle for new players since Fions are mad expensive. Why? Because the blue crystals are 10k in KR. And these stuff don't have pity system as well. It is a huge obstacle. They need to bring up something on these two, the stone and the bracelet. Next one, too much focused on raid. Basically, raid heavy game. There's still a lot of KR people who disagrees by saying, I mean, that's what Lost Ark is. Lost Ark succeeded with raids, and it has the best raids in the universe. If you want to do something else, go play other games. That's a boomer mentality, but yeah. Also, these people are anxious that if they distribute the labors, the developers to other stuff than the raid, then it will take longer to get new raids. I mean, I don't know why they are anxious about the thing that the director and developers can control, but this is a too much, reach in my opinion. The director did say he will add fun horizontals that can actually be called as a content when the lore part 2 starts, the Aldebaran's Ocean, after the Cadros I mentioned before, right? Last one, raid requiring 8 people no matter what. For Korea, they used to not think this as a problem. But because Lost Ark, Korea has been losing so many players, it became harder to gather 8 people and depart the raid. Game like Lost Ark, which is a raid-heavy game, drastically collapse when it loses player base. It requires 8 people, but then the game loses population, then of course it's gonna fall fast. So the possible solution to this is something like they add the flex system from Lost Ark Mobile, which I mentioned previously. That might fix it, right? Like allow people to enter the raid from 1 to 8 flexible amount of people. Alright, lastly, my opinion. He already revealed a lot of stuff that will be covered in LOA-ON, so the expectation is pretty low from the people. It will be a pogger LOA-ON if he comes up with something that is unexpected, especially things like regarding the above fundamental problems with actual solutions. A game that is heavily focused on a raid like Lost Ark, losing player base is a serious problem. I think there's still a chance that the Lost Ark will beat the ass of the MapleStory and Dungeon and Fighter in Korea, and perhaps even Chrono Odyssey that is not even out. More competitors on the same genre, the higher chance the game improves, right? Stay GigaChat. Spam 07.